know, my name is Junifer Fernandez. This speech is intended for an audience of primarily teenagers, and it's basically based to help them to get more information and remain abstinent. So I am a mother of two. I work and attend school full time. I cannot imagine what life would have been like if I would have had children as a teenager. It's extremely easy to say, oh well, I will use birth control, or I'm not dumb enough to have sex unprotected. That's fine. But what happens when the birth control fails to work? Contraceptives are not 100% effective, and I know this personally. The only way to prevent pregnancy is to remain abstinent. Yes, some birth controls work better than others. However, for every 100 couples, a number of them will become pregnant within a year. When in your teenage years, a person already goes through many things. You are learning where you fit in and where you don't. While a teenager, you are beginning to form some type of independence and transitioning to adulthood. The best contraceptives are literally 99% effective. When a baby comes into the picture, your whole world changes. There are many different emotions and changes that you may not be ready for. There is no way to be fully prepared for parenthood. Some of you are probably sitting here like, okay, I'm still going to do what I want to do. And yes, that is true. After giving birth to our first child, me and my spouse decided that we would wait about 6 years or more to have a second child. I had an IUD, the Paragard to be exact. By definition, a Paragard is an intrauterine device that is a little T-shaped piece of plastic inserted into the uterus to provide birth control. A copper IUD lasts up to 10 years and can serve as emergency contraceptive if inserted within 5 days after unprotected sex. At the time, our son was 1.5 years old, and there was not a thought in our heads that we would be having another baby anytime soon. According to research, the failure rate for the IUD is about 0.7% in the first year. I bet you can guess that now I have a newborn baby. I say this to say things can happen whether you try to prevent them or not. Aside from the no sleep and constant change of diapers that anyone can get used to, babies bring a lot of emotional change. According to the article entitled As How to Enjoy the Often Exhausting, Depressing Role of Parenthood, parenthood can bring a rise in depression as much as a boost in happiness. Some people who experience depression are sometimes the same ones that end up hurting themselves or their children. When dealing with a baby and no sleep, it is really easy to become irritated and neglect the child because you are upset. It is important to recognize the signs and be in tune with yourself because ultimately, parenthood brings a whirlwind of emotions. Everyone knows that when expecting a child, you have to prepare financially. Babies need bottles, diapers, and clothes. Some things that come with parenthood are on the uglier side of things that no one really talks about. In some cases, things developed during pregnancy may not always go away. Factors that can have a lasting effect are like things like gestational diabetes or like high blood pressure. According to gestational diabetes, what happens after the baby is born, of all the women who have a gestational diabetes, as many as 7 in 10 will get type 2 diabetes within 10 years. Within 10 years. Some women also struggle with blood pressure after giving birth and will for the rest of their lives. Everyone is meant to follow their own path. I believe that teenage pregnancies may stem from there not being enough support in the homes and communities. Building and breaking down the purposes of me providing you with this information is because it was never presented to me. I knew the gist of it all, but it is usually things that we don't take a second to think about that affects us the most. Getting emotionally prepared will always be a work in process. It is important to find out who you yourself as opposed it's important to find out who you are yourself before having kids, as opposed to trying to figure out who you are and building a family at the same time during your high school years. Most people don't think that certain things can or will happen to them. The best advice that I can give you is to stay informed and conduct your own research. If every teenager took the time to try to make an informed decision when it involves having sex, I am sure that the nationwide average for teenage pregnancies would decrease. So what do you think we should all do?
Educate more.
Educate more?
Practice abstinence.
Practice abstinence?
Think more.
Think more. Okay, those are all great things. The specific plan of action that I challenge each of you to do is to find yourself. Spend as much time learning who you are inside and out, and then sit down and write all of your goals that you want from your freshman to your sophomore to your junior and your senior school year. Whether it be joining a school activity or saving money for college, anything. I would like your high school years for you to go ahead and write the same goals, and then after you get done writing those goals, sit down and write the goals again, but write them and incorporate a baby into those goals and see if it will match. See if the two will go with each other. So basically, guys, sex was designed for procreation, and with it comes a host of things that people sometimes don't think about. Being informed and having goals is what will ultimately allow you to be successful. So imagine yourself at 14 trying to go to school, work, and raise a baby. Now ask yourself, is it really worth it? Thank you.
7 minutes. But who's counting?
Oh, my God.